Jorge. I'm just going to start
Ooh.
talking because this thing is spinning, and I don't know if now we're definitely live. Okay,
Oh, I
guys.
see
So,
live 6 seconds ago.
oh, you saw live a while ago.
No, I just see a little thing up there. It says been
Uh,
live for
okay. Well,
15
anyway, I
seconds.
just want to welcome everybody to tonight's live stream, and we have with us on, I like to call him the Babe Ruth of Tennis Con, because every year he knocks it out of the park with his presentations, and no wonder he's a master pro, USPTA and PTR. I want to ask, before we get into tonight's topic, which is about mentally toughness, mental toughness. Why did you want to do that? What possessed you? Because this, and tell everybody a little bit what goes into becoming a master pro. If you don't mind me putting you on the spot, because
Oh,
it's
yeah, I get it.
crazy.
Sure. So, yes, when I was a young pro, I had a mentor, and a lot of the people like Brian Marcus was a guy who mentored me here in Grand Rapids, and then of course he went to Atlanta for many years. But anyway, a lot of the coaches, I knew I was going to do tennis. I love being a tennis coach, and I wanted to do that. But I also knew I wasn't a famous person. I never played on the tour, not even close. And it seemed to me a lot of the people, that, at least at that time that I knew, had that crazy background. Like, hey, Brian could tell you, hey, I played Arthur Ashe, and I didn't know that. So he was telling us about this option with Master Professional that if you are a certified pro, you can go the extra mile. You have to submit like this. Back then, it was a giant, literally like 8-inch notebook, and the areas that you have to contribute to are your own education, player development. And I was lucky because I had tons of national ranked players. So I got a lot of points. Articles that you had to write for national or international. So I had done that. Um, Results of your own playing results. You had to show that you were sectionally ranked and all that, and then a bunch of specialty courses. So as I started looking at it, I go, gosh, a lot of this I already have done. If I just do a little bit extra, I can maybe get it. So I did it. I think I got it when I was 32 and I'm 60. So I think at age, maybe I was 30, but I think at the time I was the youngest one ever. Um, and then later, much later, maybe 10, 15 years ago, PTR also um, had me apply, and they said we want you to apply and tell us how you done. And so I got the Master Pro with them as well. So I love both of those organizations. I spoke at the World Conference at USPTA just last month. This coming month, I'll be speaking at the International Tennis Symposium for PTR. So yeah, I love it. I love talking. I love
All right.
coaching other players and coaches.
Well, you have a fan right there. Ninja says, been
All right.
coaching boys and girls high school for 3 seasons now, and have
All
loved your drills and strategy videos, which,
right.
that's so true. I do a clinic in Cincinnati, and 1 year to get geared up for it, I'm like, I want to do new cool stuff. So I went through your tennis drills, TV stuff. And I mean, it was awesome. And I had so many cool drills and ideas going through that. And we ended up having a great clinic, and people just said they loved all the drills we did, and a lot of them were yours. So thank you
I
for
love it.
that.
No
Uh,
problem. Thanks for
you
supporting me.
got Michael Loriola, who I used to teach out
Nice.
in San Jose, California. We had a lot of great times in the court, and looks like he's still into it. Admire Jorge's thoroughness, which is unparalleled. That's true. So tonight, Jorge, you have a great presentation for us. I see we're getting warmed up. We're close to 50 people on now.
You
Guys, keep coming on in. Say hello. And Jorge, tell us what you're going to talk about tonight.
Well, we're going to talk about mental toughness. I have a lot of experience suffering from poor mental toughness, and then getting my poop together, and then finally being able to teach it to others. So part of the reason, obviously, we could talk about a lot, but the reason I enjoy teaching mental toughness is because I do think it's probably the number one weakness that most players have. I've had unbelievable amount of players in my background that had all the strokes, but they just couldn't get it together mentally, and they always kind of felt like they lost to players they shouldn't. Um, as a young player, I came to tennis late, and because I started late, and I played 1,000,000 hours. My first year, I went up like a rocket. I thought, man, this tennis is easy. At this rate, I'm going to be a professional. And then I leveled out, like when you get to about 5 level, you level out. It's like, oh, I can't double my abilities every year. And then you dawn on you like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to be a professional. But I also didn't really have any formal training. So I've had great problems with nervousness and choking and then anger. And back then there was no help. Like no coach would, do that. In the 70s, there wasn't like the Jim Layers of the world that are sports psychologists that can actually give you a plan. So today I titled this topic 5 things you can do to get mentally tougher on the court. And basically, I do have a big mental toughness course, and I also have a free one. But this is what I thought would be the 5. If I had a person at my club tomorrow say, "Hey, I want to meet with you. I want to have you help me with mental toughness," I'd narrow it down to these 5 things and that's what we're going to cover.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to pop in your presentation
Nice.
right into the stream here and let you take over. And maybe if I have a question or two or see some questions come on in, we'll stop
Yeah.
you. But it's your show,
Okay.
buddy.
I love it. So let me see if I can get my stuff going here. So, title 5 ways to get mentally tougher. And let's talk about what the 5 ways are. So, the first way we're going to talk about training your inner voice. The second thing I want to talk about is training under pressure. Third is training your between point skills. 4 is just taking audits, and I'll tell you what that is. And the last is developing a plan, because those are the 5 things that seem to work the best for me and my players. The first being training your voice. So let's just keep plowing forward. Um, I always tell this episode in college just to kind of help you understand how poor players are, excuse me, at kind of even knowing how when their voice is getting bad. So this is a bit of an embarrassing story, but it's true. So I was in college, probably, I don't know, I guess I'm 19, 20 years old, and we had a practice, and our coach was, you know, I think there were 8 of us there that day, and we were playing singles practice sets against each other. And so there's four courts going, and my coach is just doing laps around the outer perimeter, just kind of checking everybody out. And this particular day, I was playing someone who I never usually did well against. He had a really, you know, I hated the way that he played. He was tailor made to beat me. So my inner voice started to become negative, So I'm saying things inside like, "You suck, come on, well, how'd you miss that? Your forehead." And then when you get mad enough, your inner voice then becomes your outer voice, and now you're sharing it with the world and making a bigger app of yourself. Like, "God, I suck." So my coach, who was pretty calm, you I'm kind of acting out fairly bad. I mean, I'm not dropping f bombs or anything, but I'm misbehaving and I'm griping out loud and I'm complaining. So when he walked past my corner, he kind of, he walked with his, like this, kind of
Uh,
just checking us all out. And he walks past me and he kind of leans in. Maybe he's 10 feet away from me. He says, "Your forehand's a joke." And then he keeps walking.
he says your forehand's a choke?
A joke.
A joke.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? Did freak me out a little bit? Did coach just tell me my? It kind of rattled me, and I thought, what the hell's going on? So anyway, he makes another lap and probably gets back to my corner. I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes later, um, and he says, "You're a cow. You don't move." And then he keeps moving. And now I'm
Wow.
like, okay, I freaking heard that. But now I'm also figuring out he's saying things to me that I've already been saying about myself.
Ah.
I was yelling, "Your forehand's a joke. You're a cow." He did this like 3 or 4 times, and I caught on. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Fool me once,
So
fool me twice, fool me
yeah.
4 times.
So what happened? The way the story ends is at the end of practice, we all come together,
Uh-huh.
and he was telling us a few things, and we're getting ready to dismiss, and then he looks at me and he says, "So Jorge, how did you like those things that I said to you?" And, and I said, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm 18.
Right.
He goes, "Well, I just want you to know that all I said was exactly the same phrases that you were saying about yourself, so loud enough where we could all hear it." And I immediately responded, "I didn't say those things." And I meant it. I literally thought I didn't say those things. And as soon as I said that, my other 7 teammates were like, "Wait a minute, you did say that." I go, "I didn't say I was a cow." "Yeah, you did. I heard you. I didn't say you were, you know." So that's how like clued out. I was so negative. I didn't even know I was doing it.
Wow.
So that was, kind of an eye opener for me. So what I started to figure out back in the day, I read this book, famous book, Inner Game of Tennis, and it talks about self one and self two. What always intrigued me is how can, you see a lot of players having a bad day, Nick Kyrgios, whatever. He's talking, right? You saw how can Nick Kyrgios be talking to Nick Kyrgios? He's having this conversation, or any player that's having a bad day, and usually it's berating themselves. But it's weird because there's only one person, and typically you would need 2 people to have a conversation. So when I learned this from the Inner Game of Tennis, it's really self one is the body, the one, my body running around trying to hit strokes. And self two is my mind, who is really a big fat judger and is just sitting there. I hit a backhand and it doesn't go well. So my mind says, "God, you suck. Your backhand's such a joke." So that's how there's 2 people. It's really the mind ragging on the body, usually.
Mm.
Um, and that was helpful to me because I'm like, oh, okay, now I know why I'm talking. At least I'm not a mental patient.
Interesting.
So yeah, that was really helpful. And the goal of that book is basically one of the most important thing you can do as a tennis player is learn to quiet your mind. I definitely did not have a quiet mind. I was quick to anger, and I was frustrated if the guy hooked me. Oh my god, there's a phrase that I love, which is a bad call can cost you a point, but how you react to it can cost you the match or a set or whatever. So I've had some episodes like that. So that's kind of why the importance. I really haven't told you much, but now let's get into what I've come up with. This is the Jorge theory. Where your thoughts reside. I found that there's 3 basic places where people's minds will reside, and they are in the past, or they could be in the future, or it could be in the present. This is during competition. You're playing a singles or a doubles match. So for those, and how do you know what you are? Well, I'm going to show you. People who generally have anger talk, their inner voice or maybe their outer voice is angry. They're usually people that hang out in the past. So they're mad about an error probably. Future people, they don't get mad. They tend to be nervous. So this might help people watching kind of diagnose, like, what am I? If you're super nervous, you're probably thinking too much about the future and the outcome and the ride home and telling my friends and all that stuff. And then you have people that are focused, or present focused. And, if their mind's in the present, they tend to be focused in game plan. So let me keep going and give you some examples. So we have those 3, right? Let's talk first about past. Here's the words that come out of these people. If you're a fast thinker, maybe some people recognize these words. They say things like, "You suck," "You're slow," "You're a choker," "Your forehand's a joke." All those are reactions to something that just happened in the past. So sometimes when I could coach a player under competition and ask them, "How you doing? How you doing?" If they're telling me all these things, "Oh, I suck today," I know that their focus is in the past. Generally. Okay. So the second thing,
You are a master coach, by the way. This is like brilliant. I am enjoying this so much. I cannot tell you how much I'm enjoying this right now. All right, go ahead.
Well, thanks, brother. So future people that if you're a future thinker, you might have thoughts like, if I win this match, then I'll be happy. If I win this match, I'll finally get that ranking I want. If I get this game, I'll be up 4-2, then they can't break me. If I'm up a break, I'm gonna grab. So they're always thinking. Sometimes these people even screw up the score because it's 30-all, and they're like, okay, get this game, get this point. I got break point. If I get, and they say, what's the score? 40-30, because they're already thinking about the previous score. So these are just examples. I can't be the only. This happened to me literally. I remember in a college match more than once. My team was really good, and they would win. And maybe and I'm the last court out there. On 2 separate occasions, I was the last one playing for my college team. Everybody had won, and I was in a tough third setter. And then my thoughts were like already in the van, like, oh my God, I can't be the only doofus that's not going to win today. And I was thinking about, leaving the court, and I wasn't very good. No one even taught me how to be present. So those are all examples, and generally, all those thoughts are about things that are going to happen in the future. If I get this, if I
Guys,
do that.
comment in this in the I'll be interested to see what you guys think you are. If you've identified whether you're past, present, or future, just write that in the comment section. I think definitely I am probably future.
Yeah.
If I want to win today, or what's it going to feel like, or
And
all
by the
that kind
way,
of anxiety.
yeah.
Yes.
By the way, a really important point is you'll tend to be one or the other, but we're all everything. Okay. There's times where our thoughts are in the past, and sometimes they're in the future, maybe even the same match. But generally, people will default. Like my factory settings was future. I was a future thinker, and I was a nervous player. And then probably second would be past. Then I get angry, and then not very much. So let's keep going to this third one. This one that really the goal. So these people, if you hear their inner voice, they are saying things like, "Get this return in." It's very present. Serve to this ball into Peter's backhand. Come on the very next short ball. Play a long point here because Peter's dying. I can tell he's tired. So all those kind of show that the person is in the present. In other words, they are planning. They're thinking it through. So that whole thing there about past versus future thinking is very interesting. And I think when I sit with players and I can try to explain this to them and kind of interview them and try to get them to think, very few would say, I'm number three. It's a mix, almost like 49% past, 49% future thinkers, and only 2% say, yeah, it comes easy for me to just, it's just not normal. If you
We
make
had one present thinker,
Chris Howard,
Christopher. Yeah,
put
says
the guy at middle.
I'm present, baby. I'm a
I love it.
focused Zen machine. I like it.
I love it. So here's one other thing before we leave this area: the win method. The win method is it's a method of letting go errors and moving on. So if you are a past thinker and you're getting mad, you just can't let go of errors very well. Here's something. The win method stands for what's important now. Win. Okay, so basically, your goal is after every point, you simply ask yourself a question, which is what's important now. So I just, before you can even start ragging about your easy backhand in the net, you miss it. Okay, what's important right now? The score is this, the score is that. So this win thing is pretty clever. And I've even done this with some players where I put it on their racket. One of my players put it on their wristband. So it's just kind of thing, but that's just a clever little thing. I call it the win method. What's important now? If you can get in the habit of kind of, all right, you know, I did make an easy error. Exactly, that was a total choker. I should have made it, but whatever. I mean, I literally have to play another point here in 2 seconds. So dwelling on it's only going to hurt.
Are these real students that really did this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the one.
That's
See,
so cool.
you can see I put this as an example on my thing, but I have a former student, Aaron, that used to do that, and yeah, it's clever.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so here's a couple things that I would probably have people do. I'm not really good with mantras. So mantras are things you say to yourself that are more positive, right? I'm not a really mantra kind of guy. When people ask me about it, I'm like, but I did know if you would have checked in with me when I was 19 years old, my mantra would have been, I suck. This guy's a hat. It's pretty crappy mantra. So I always need help when it like, what do you mean? So here's some examples. I'm a fighter. That's a good mantra. I'm a tough competitor. Now you have to kind of believe it, right? So if you're not a fighter, you give it up instantly. Maybe that's not the mantra. I love the battle. I'm willing to suffer. When I think of that, I think of Rafa.
Yeah,
That guy,
loves to say
whatever.
that.
You want to play out here with blisters and sun and run through the wall and I'm bleeding? I'm okay. My stomach muscles torn apart. Okay, I'll keep going. I feel strong. I love a challenge. Those are 6 examples. And what I find is, even if you say, well, I don't really believe any of those things about myself, well, they're still useful because maybe you can latch onto one of those and say, you know what? I'm a fighter. I can control that. I thought I was a good fighter. I mean, I would have said that about myself.
Hmm.
I would not have said I'm a tough competitor because I felt like mentally I'd fall apart. I basically did love the battle. I was willing to suffer. I rarely felt strong, like mentally. So basically, if you can just imagine, this would be your homework at people watching. Take a screenshot of that if you want. Make your own mantras. Just even if you come up with two and swipe a couple of mine or
Guys,
modify.
write some mantras right now. I want to hear what you guys think. What can you latch on to? Either if there's one on the list that you like that you want to own, write it down. Just like do your homework right now. So you don't have to do it when you hang up. And if you have some new ones, put it down. Love to see it. This is great stuff, Jorge. Keep going.
No problem. So let's keep going here. And, that's item number two we talked about, Peter, was training under pressure. So I've learned as a coach, I wish I would have figured it out as a player, that tennis's scoring system is just diabolical. It's really difficult to close out matches. I call it diabolical because comebacks are easy. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Um, in tennis, think about this. It's one of the probably the only sport where points that you legally earn basically come off the board. So in football, you score 6 points, you got 6 points. It ain't coming off. In basketball, you shoot a 3-pointer, that's three in your score. In tennis, I could be battling with you, Peter, and we both know it's 4-4, it's 5-5. We're getting to the business end of this set, and now it's 6-6, and now it's 5-5 in the breaker. We both know, man, in a couple of minutes here, this whole hour that we've played in this hot sun trying to grab this breaker, in 2 points, you might have it, and then you got six, or you got the set, and I got nothing. So it's weird that way. The other way is comebacks are easy and finishing out. So my analogy here is this: in tennis, there's no sudden death. So if I'm playing Peter, you and I are playing in ping pong. Let's say you played at 21, right? And let's just say I got a huge lead. I got 20, and you got three. Okay, so the scoring in ping pong is such that I immediately have 17 sudden death points. You literally have no mercy. You lose one more point, you're out. Okay. Now compare that to tennis. I'm up on you in the 5-0 in the third set. Huge lead, right? But because it's not sudden death, we play. I'm up 5-0. Boom, boom. Here we go. Me and Peter have a long game. Next thing you know, he wins the game. You lost points, I lost points, but you grabbed that game. And now Jorge has five, Peter has one. Okay, no worries. I'm going to close them out. I play another game. The game goes long. Some good points, some bad points. All of a sudden, maybe it's a longer game. Peter grabs that one. Even though he lost several points in that game, nothing was sudden death. And then all of a sudden, you got two. But I got five. And already, when this happens in real life, the guy with five starts, their ender mantra is like, okay, man, let's close this punk out. Don't freaking do any crazy things here, Jorge. You got a 5-0 lead. Let's get him now. And it's already a little bit on my radar that this is maybe a problem. So we play another game, and Peter loses points, but none of them are sudden death. All of a sudden, he grabs that game, and it's 5-3. So here comes you see how it's hard to put him out. Um, and now, by the way, 5-3. Usually, the guy that has five is already mad. God dang it! Are you kidding me? But I still have a little breathing room. I play. It's 5-4. I keep going. It's a super long game. And next thing you know, Peter grabs that game too. Maybe even made a close call that I'm mad about. Now I have five. He has four. I'm still up. If it was 4-4 and I got up 5-4, I would feel great. But it's still the same score, 5-4. But the way it's happening, I feel horrible, even though it's the identical score. So that's why I say comebacks are hard or are super easy, and closing people out is not really that easy.
I'm coming back, Jorge, and all I need is one more bad call to drive you crazy.
Yeah. Well, in this scenario, I just hit three aces and I won the set, so it didn't matter.
Okay.
So you got to train under pressure. People don't generally do that. So when it comes to closing out points, here's some realities. I've learned this a long time ago. On the scoreboard of tennis, every point is equal. It's worth 1 point. Okay, I win a point, I get a point. But we all know that they feel different. They just, 15 all, love in the first game is way different. It's going to be 1 point. It's way different than 4-5, 30-30. And I'm serving to stay in the set. So even though they're the same, legally, they don't feel the same. So the key is we need to play more pressure points. And in tennis, it's really easy to not do that. I'll show you why. So just so we know, the way I define a pressurized point is in a game when the score is 30-30 or later, starts to feel different. And in a set, when the score is 4-4 or later. Those that's my definition, right? So here's the deal. The problem is let me go back one. If you and I, Peter, played an actual set, and let's say it took 35 minutes, if we counted all the points that are pressure by this definition, it's well under half the points. Like only maybe 30% of the points would classify as that.
Wow.
Which means you could be playing a lot of practice matches thinking you're toughening yourself up, but you're really not. So what I like to do is do assigned games. So here's one of the games. There's two I'll tell you about here. So the first one is pressure set. So I will give two of my students, imagine Peter and I playing, and we go, look, Peter, we're going to play for an hour and a half, whatever, but we're not going to play typical scoring. We're going to play for time, and here's how it's going to go. We're going to play a bunch of sets. Every set starts at 4-4, and every game starts at 30-30. All right, so, okay, let's try it. I bounce. So here we go. 4-4, 30-30. Boom, I double fall. Dude, I got break point. In 4 seconds, I'm already facing break point.
Wow, I love it.
And then I play that point, and maybe I choke, and then, dang it, 4-5 already. And then you hit two aces, and that set's gone in a matter of 90 seconds. So we just take, by playing pressure sets, as I define that game, and then we just keep going. All right, you got that set 6-4. Let's go again. Now you're serving 4-4, 30-30, George. You hit an ace, okay, for game point. So you get right to the business end, and now the entire hour and a half is pressure points. So that game, I freaking love that game. I do it as homework constantly. And the more, like, if my student is more likely to kind of think like they're a choker, I know they're not mentally strong, I'll put them in those pressure situations so that when they do finally get in the match and they get to those pressure points, they're like, dude, I've done this a lot this last month. The partner game that goes with that is deuce and done. So what we do on this one, Peter, is let's say I serve. Every game starts at deuce, and I get two serves, period. I serve to the deuce, and I serve to the ad, and it's over. Now, if I won both of them, then I won the game. If you won both of them, then you won the game. Or if we split them, like I won the first, I ace you, and then you hit a winner return, we split, no one wins the game. And now Peter serves, and he hits an ace, and then he hits a double fault. No one gets that game. Then Jorge goes, and I hit an ace, and we play a long point, but Peter wins it. Still 0-0. It's all back end of a game, and it's all pressure. You got to learn to put two together to grab a point. And I know who needs it the most, because certain players, when I give them that homework assignment, freaking hate it. They just like, this is the stupidest game. And as soon as they play it, I go, this is exactly who needs this game more than anybody. So that's kind of a little.
Can I stop you here real quick? This is
Sure.
such good stuff, because I did a survey right before TennisCon on what are the four things keeping you. I said, what is keeping you from getting to the level that you want to play at, that you think you can play at? There were four things, and reason number two, which came in second place after, I want to improve my weak serve, was I want to play, in matches the way I play in practice. A lot of people feel like I can live with myself when I go practice. I come home from a practice session, I feel good. I come home from some of these matches and I want to do myself in. So, but people are not doing games like this. And the more you do games like this in practice, then the matches don't feel so pressure packed, or at least you're used to that feeling of being under pressure. This is outstanding.
Well, and that should not be a surprise, right? This would apply to every piece of life. If I am going to be a singer and I sing one time or two times, I'm nervous. If I've sung in front of a crowd 1,000 times, guess what? You're not so nervous. You're used to it. So what happens, I think people make mistakes. Club players all the time say, well, I'm playing. I play my buddies. I play 6 sets a week, but they're not meaningful sets. They're not quote unquote, going to go on your permanent record. Maybe something like a league match feels different, and that's where people choke, and then they go back on Monday and play with their permanent court time league, and they're like, God, it was great again. But and then you start getting this real negative thing, like, man, I must be some kind of loser because I'm fine in the match or in practice, and I'm not fine in a actual performance, and they start getting negative about it. So that's a really important one to kind of get right. This third thing I wanted to have on our five is train the between point skills. Um, so I always say, well, I never knew this. I wish I would have known this, but there's really two performances. The one everybody knows about is the one during the competition. I mean, during the point. And during the point, an average tennis point lasts 5 to 7 seconds. It's hard to determine someone's mental toughness by watching them during a point. They're just running all over the place trying to get the ball back. The second performance is the one between the points. And there it's super easy to see someone's mental toughness. But here's the deal. Most people don't look at the between point time as a second performance. This is like news to them. They're like, wait, I performed during the point, and then that other time is rest time, isn't it, Jorge? No way. This is the between point time is in itself another performance. And we're going to talk here about the 16-second cure. And I talked to your buddy Brett Hobden, who's a friend of mine.
Yes.
So I don't know how many people on this call will know this, but the one person that came up with this system called the 16-second cure, he was on the other night with Brett and Gordon. His name is Jim Lair, Dr. Jim Lair. Now, if you are a old-time tennis coach like me, Jim Lair is your biggest hero of your life because
Right.
he came
Legendary.
up with something. So he taught us, as a player, I learned the 16-second cure, and then he made a video. And I'm going to let you know that he just recently, like in the last month, redid the video from 33 years ago.
Oh, I
He
gotta find
redid
that.
it. And the cool part is people can get it right now on gottatennis.com, GOTTA tennis.com. You go there, Brett Hobden and Gordon, they redid it with them, and it's there for free. It's Jim's gift to tennis, for the rest of his life. So unbelievably
Wow.
important. But let me tell you virtually what the 16-second cure is. It's basically a between point management system. And it's best described as PRPR. PRPR. So P, the first P stands for positive physical response. So right after the point ends, whether I hit a winner or choke an easy one, positive physical response. Some kind of slap the thigh, pump the fist, turn away from the point, don't, collapse physically. And then R is relaxation. So positive physical response and relaxation, which usually happens back by the fence. You'll see the pros, they're looking at their strings at this time. They're catching their breath. The pros do this constantly. Okay. That's the second, or that's the R. The second P is preparation. This is where they kind of turn across. I'm playing Peter, I'm serving, and I kind of look over there and I say, okay, 4-4, 30 love. And I kind of plan my point. I prepare for a second. I just take a minute and pause, maybe 5 seconds to kind of catch my breath. And then the last R is the ritual, which is now I go up to the net and I bounce the ball, or up to the baseline and bounce the ball. If it was a return, I do my footwork rituals. And then it just repeats positive physical response, relaxations, watch your strings, preparation, and rituals, and repeat. So if you know that, and that's why I want you to be aware of that video, the 16-second cure. Now it's a system. Like, dude, that's something I can do, because that's what was a huge blessing for me back in when I was a junior. This came out, and then also, well, I think I was past the junior, but I was still competing. And as a coach, I was a coach in tennis full time at age 21. So if I had a maniac high school boy that was poorly behaved, I'm like, how do I teach this guy? That's like me. I had no skill. So now I had something, tangible that I can at least show the kids. So that's a big, big thing. You got to start thinking of your performances as your between point performance, and your actual point performance, and then you go right into another one. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to be mentally weak. I don't want that. I want to be able to bitch about my life. But so You have to man up, man. I mean,
Yeah.
even the pros don't do it perfect, right? Like one of the people that have one of the worst between point rituals is Kyrgios, right? He has often between points. He's not performing these things. Sometimes he does. You can see it's almost like he watched the video. He'll have a nice set and a half where he's like, man, Nick seems kind of calm today. Look at he's doing the six, and then like something will set him off, and then he goes off the rails. But that is
Yeah.
very, very important. And by the way, I'll throw in this other crazy thing. I believe that if, as a spectator, if you're a child, if you're watching your child play, I said this to parents. I say it at every parents meeting that a lot of parents watch their kids not very well. They're
Mhm.
nervous on the sideline, and I tell the parents, look, I have your 11-year-old daughter out there, and I'm teaching her that even though she's mad, she's going to act a certain way. She's 11. So your 45-year-old ass, when you're on the sidelines and you can't hold still and you're doing this because she's missing shots, you're performing too. You are performing and you're sucking at it right now.
That is so great.
You have to just, even though it's okay that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's missed that, and you're nervous, that's fine. On the outside, you act nice and calm, just like I'm teaching your 11-year-old to do. So if she can do it, you can do it. There's my rant for the night. Let's go. Okay, so that was the between point thing. Now, item number 4, in my opinion, that you can do is you got to take an audit. It's really 2 audits. You're going to take an audit of how do you compete, and the second one is how do you train. So let me tell you what I mean by that. This first audit, number 1, is how do you compete, and I have these 3 questions that I've been asking literally for 40 years. I ask this no matter where I go. If I go to China, Norway, Australia, wherever I speak, I'm asking this question. And I'll ask it of the group tonight. You, Peter, you think of it. For the strokes that you have today, the strokes that you have at this moment, which of these 3 options sounds like you? Option 1, you win more matches than you should, given the strokes you have. Okay? That's some people. Option 2, given the strokes I have, Jorge, I win about as much as I probably should, given the strokes I have. And number 4, I really don't win as much as I should. I win less than I should, given the strokes I have. All right, so you want to know some percentages?
I'm
I
gonna
know.
guess that 66% say option number 3.
All right, I'll put it up for you. Only 1 out of 10 people I have ever coached and asked say that. That's awesome. That's the kind of player that probably has massive strategy, massive mental toughness, and maybe ugly strokes.
Yeah.
This is the next most common thing is this one. About 30% of the people walking around the planet that play tennis say, yeah, I probably win as much as I should. But here's the unfortunate bummer. And you mentioned it in your survey. Most 60% of us watching today, 60% of the people at your club, on your team, really, if you sat them down, had a beer with them, and say, tell me what you're really thinking, man, they would say, I don't know, something's wrong with me. I don't get it. I don't win as much as I should. So this is the reality. So this is a perfect 3 questions to ask yourself. If you are in that lower number, that 30 or that 60%, okay, this is a bummer, but it's also good. Now you know. Now you've diagnosed yourself and use. By the way, what I would say to you is, what do you think you need? More technique, or do you think it might be smart to really invest in some mental toughness skills? So that's where a lot of people are, and that's where everybody wishes they could be
Yeah.
in a big way. So let me just kind of show you this thing. So how you train. This is another one. I mean, I have probably 70% of the people at my club get this wrong. So along the bottom, you see there's the 4 pillars of tennis. There's technique, there's strategy, there's mental, and there's fitness. I didn't invent those. That's basically the 4 areas that everybody trains in. So technique, strategy, mental, and fitness, right? The problem is when you play a match, Peter, think about this. This just came out. About 78% of the time the match happens, so it's an hour and a half long match, 78% of the time the ball's not in play. So by definition, it's the between point time. So let's just say 25% of the time the points going back and forth. The other 75%, 3/4 of the freaking time, It's not. So it's all the between point stuff. So that's one reason to do the between point stuff and have some. So the between point stuff is where is that? That's there. That all falls in the mental stuff. But
Yeah.
so many club members. So here's the dangerous question. I'm going to ask it of the group. Think. Let me go back one. Think of the last 6 months. Everybody on this call, think of the last 6 months and all the hard work, all the lessons, all the training, all the matches, and all the group lessons and the practices you took. Think of all those. If you added up those hours, for some of you, it's going to be 5, 10 hours a week. It's going to be like 100+ hours, right? So let's just say 100 hours for your average guy. Then, if you ask, here's the dangerous question: of all that time, how many minutes did you dedicate to training mentally? And the answer for most people, honestly, is 0.0 minutes. I literally didn't do anything. And that's an issue. You cannot do that. So you might say, "Well, I don't know what the hell to do." I mean, how? Well, there's courses, there's APEAK, there's all kinds of stuff that you can get now, but you have to spend some time. And
Yeah.
sometimes I've had people in the past, because I'll do this with my private lessons, and I'll fight with a parent because I'll take the kid and we'll do something off the court where I'm doing some mental toughness stuff. Like, what's happening? I thought, why aren't you guys on the court hitting balls? And I'm like, my job is to get them better. Most of it's going to be hitting balls, but some of it's going to be mental toughness skills, which may or may not happen on the court. Maybe I just want him to come up and do an exercise on the computer or something.
Yeah.
So this is really probably one of the biggest problems that most rec players have. They just totally ignore it. And then they wonder, why can't I play as good in a match as I can? By the way, if you look at the pros, they don't mess around. I mean, all the pros spend time on it. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. I'm getting near the end here. This is this is how do you train. So I'm going to show you how I like to describe it. And I think if you get this right, it will greatly reduce the amount of stress you have in the court and make you mentally better. So in tennis, there's basically 5 play situations. Only 5 things you'll ever do. This is the grading scale, by the way, up there. So here's the first thing you might do. Think of these, I call them the 5 play situations.
Just so you know, Jorge, you did a great job explaining, but we cannot see your whole PowerPoint has been brilliant, and everything's been very easy to see. This is hard to see.
Okay. Well, here's the good news. I'm going to give everybody a link on the next thing where you can download this certain thing.
Okay, awesome.
So
wow, that's great.
I have it, and I'll drop it right into the thing because I want you to have this. So basically, it's the situation 1 is serving. Situation 2 is returning. Situation 3 is you might be playing from the baseline. 4 is you might be playing at the net. Or 5, you're the other guy's at the net and you're hitting passive shots and balls. So that's it. And then I always throw in as a competitor. So don't worry about trying to read all the little circles and stuff, but I have a technical piece and I always give them grades and stuff like that. So this is basically a report card that you can do honestly with yourself and say, wow, I never realized that of all the 5, because here's the deal, Peter. This third one here, this baseline, most people like to play baseline. Almost every singles player out there in the world plays some sort of baseline game. Steady baseline or aggressive baseline or hacker or whatever. And they go, I've always known my net play has been worse or my weaker part. But, next year, it's still my weaker part next year. So what the heck? You're going to go for the next 20 years and not ever address the whole game? So, by the way, let me get to that thing. We're getting where I want to. Here we go. So I'm going to do this cool thing. I'm going to drop, if I can figure out how to do it. I already messed it up. In the chat, I want to drop that. So give me 1 second. I'm going to go into the chat and see where I'm at, Peter. All right, let me tell you.
Jorge's doing that, and I'll look for your comment to come in. Okay, put it in the chat. I'm going to go grab it. So I've got the link. This is great. Great job, Jorge. Jorge, you are on fire tonight. I just want to say this is such a great presentation. And it just, again, makes me just love that I do this tennis con, because like as I'm watching you do this, I'm like this is just such great stuff that even myself as a coach, I need to just keep reminding myself to share this information, and the way you're sharing it and the points you're making are just so crystal clear and make so much sense. It's just awesome. Like you just cannot hear this enough if you're a player or a coach. It's just awesome stuff.
Yep. So that link should take it. I've set it free so that anybody can just print that and look it over and kind of have a way. Even if you don't grade yourself, at least you'll know, okay, here's how Federer, all the pros, they have these 5 areas. Okay. Let's be honest. When Rafa burst on the tour way back when he was a young punk, his strongest area was baseline. But he recognized, hey, my net play and my serve, those are 2 things that I might be doing on the court. They're behind. So he actively went out and made them better. I think a lot of club players would say, yeah, I know my weaker areas, but they're not actively doing anything to make them better. So now back on the screen, I don't know if we have it back in there. This is what I came up with, right?
Yes.
We're just doing a review. So here's why I always pull this up at the end. I want you to think about, we covered a lot when talking for 45 minutes. Some of you, when you look at that list, you're like, yeah, number 1, I got to do better. And what he said about that, and I'm going to go check out that Gata thing, and that's where I need to do. Some of you are going to resonate more with number 2. Yeah, dude, I always fold. I can't. So I'm going to play those 2 silly games he mentioned, pressure set and deuce and done, so I get a little more practice like that. Some of you really need more number 3, which is I never even occurred to me that I'm doing a performance there during my. By the way, that's the only performance you can control. By the way, I can't control the point. I can do some things in the point, but it's not 100% will not be control. How I act between points, that's 100% up to me. And then think about those audits, those 2 questions, like what type of person are you? I'm thinking probably 60% of you are the type that are past thinkers and you're kind of angry. And if you ask yourself, what do I probably win fewer matches than I should have given my strokes. This is okay. It doesn't mean you're flawed, but now you know, and you got to go do something about it. And then the last thing is just developing a plan. That's that little power, the thing I just had you download. So I'm going to stop sharing because that's basically it for my prezo on the PowerPoint.
Well, those
are 5 things that, for me has been very helpful as a coach and a player.
That is great stuff. If you guys have any questions on tonight's presentation, now is the time to do so. I think also now is the time to give them like a round of applause or put in some like "you're on fire" comments, because I thought that was excellent, and it's so true. I just want to share one story that I did a couple weeks ago that I thought was really interesting, and you can maybe riff on it and kind of explain, how this is happening. Is I had these players, 4 people came to visit me, and we're doing we're just warming up a serve basket, and we got like a strong 4-0 on the court, middle of the road 3-5s, and one like kind of okay 3-0 player. And they're all serving to their ability. And then I said, okay, now you have got to serve. You have 2 people going at the same time. And if you serve it in, you get 1 serve. If you serve it in the target area, you get a point. You get to stay in there. And the next person gets to come challenge you.
Nice.
We went like, I'm telling you, a couple of really awkward minutes without anybody making a serve. That's how quickly people can get nervous. And as I kept doing these drills, I started, something to hit me. I'm like, tennis is not a rhythm sport. We're always practicing to get our rhythm. We go there, we start hitting short court, we get the feel of the ball. Then we hit cross courts forever. Then we hit the other cross court. Then we'll do the 100-ball drill. Then we'll do a basket of balls. The coach feeds you till the whole basket's gone. And you can get in this great rhythm and rip. But when you play a match, tennis is nothing but a breaking rhythm sport. The way it's designed, like you said, from the scores, you get momentum, then you lose momentum, and you got to sit on the changeover. Every 75% of the match isn't even playing, and we just don't practice to prepare for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough, and a lot of times, you know, people don't know. Like I think I kind of not that good mentally. Like, what? How do I deal with that? You know, like I remember back in the day, you know, my coach would make a comment to me like, "Hey, don't get mad." I'm like, dude, that's like the most unhelpful thing ever. Like, you think I woke up today and say, I can't wait to get to the court so I can be pissed off the next hour and a half. But I was often, but I didn't. That doesn't help. So giving them a system, 16-second cure, you know, that kind of stuff where you can actually learn how to do it. That is super epic, and that. But you know, it's just a weird. It's one of the four big pillars, and it's ignored by 90% of rec players.
Yeah. We had a comment, and maybe you could get it up, Jorge, because I think it maybe now is a good time. Um, I call Jorge the Babe Ruth of this whole thing, and somebody says, "Is it possible to get the whole PowerPoint presentation?" And I know that you guys, when you come on these live streams, we have different instructors come on. If you buy off their link, then they get the credit for that, and we can also track that you bought off their link, and so you can get bonuses from them for buying off their link. And if you've been waiting for the presentation, like what's the going to be the best presentation with the best bonus, I think tonight, no disrespect to any of the other coaches, I think tonight might be the best bonus you're going to see. So if you are thinking of upgrading, this might be the night to do it, because Jorge, can you share? I'm going to share your
Yeah.
link right now in the chat section.
Okay.
So I'm sharing your bonus link in the chat section. But if
Sure.
you could share what you're going to give as a bonus if people upgrade to life, that would be awesome. I'm
Yeah,
trying to hit the.
I'll pull it up because it's actually access to my website. So for those of you that don't know, let me first present it so you can see it. And I'm going to go right here. So, um, bam. So are you seeing? Yeah, there we go. So this is my Tennis Drills website, which is primarily for coaches, but so happens to have a bunch of stuff. So real quickly, we started out with tennis drills. Okay, so if you're a coach looking for singles drills, you would click here, and then that loads up the singles library. And only just in singles alone, I have 280 singles drills. These are
Hold on. Can you tell everybody how long you've been making these videos in this
yeah,
site?
since 2007.
Since
But a
2007.
lot of those done back then, I had to refilm because they're high def now. But back then, it wasn't such an obvious thing. But yeah, it's a. I
It's
have
massive.
2,000 tennis drills, 80 courses. But I'll show you real quick. So you can watch these obviously in big screen, and it's just me on the court showing some drills that you and your buddies might want to do. Um, I'll just play it for a second. Um,
4,
and I'll
5.
mute it because you probably don't need to listen to that. But what I wanted to do, again, keep in mind, even though this was for coaches, a lot of players would benefit. Every one of those 2,000 drills, Peter, has a printable diagram. So if you like one, you can say, wow, and you print it, and it literally is that drill. You can take it on the court with you so you don't screw it up. So that's that, and that's that whole category of all these things, little kids and whatnot. But I think as players, if you're a player, you're going to love this area a lot. Strategy for singles and for doubles, and it's basically like singles, the moonballer, the steady baseline, or whatever. Let's just click moonballer because that happens to be a common one that people hate to play against. Every one of those things you pick loads up 7 ways that you can beat the moonballer. And here's those 6 or 7 ways, and here's me teaching it. So, Jorge says use more underspin, and then you go on the court, and that's me with my player teaching them how to do more underspin. So you get the video lesson, if you will, but then you get the how to do it. You get to be on the court with me. Again, I got it kind of muted. Tactic 3, come in behind your returns. Okay, how would I do that? So it's basically my strategy book in video form. Um, and then let's go back to strategy because that's just one, right? Then 7 ways to beat the runner pusher, 7 ways to beat the aggressive baseliner, and the serve volley, and the all quarter, and the big server, and the drop shot lobber, and the counter puncher, blah, blah, blah. But if you're a doubles player, I got you covered because Here's 6 or 7 ways to beat the teams that poach a lot, the ones that rush and crush and come in all things, the teams that stay back and lock you to death, the one up, one back team, the Australian team. So I click into stay one up, one back. Boom, here's the 7 lessons. So players absolutely love this because it's like being on the court with me. And then the next thing I'll show you. So by the way, what I'm going to do is I'm giving everybody 3 months free access to this. You can literally watch 2,000 drills if you want to, or less. This lab is fairly new, meaning it's like maybe 4 years old. If you go here into the courses tab, there's courses that you can watch that are everything from drill mastery, tips for coaches, feeding. Okay, so if I'm a 3-5 player, I don't probably not gonna watch feeding, right? But you might want to watch this one with Ken DeHart, Monsters in Your Mind. That's a mental toughness one. You might want to watch this one that I did with uh, teaching tennis IQ. What does that mean? So probably half of these are very appropriate for players. If you're a parent, if you're a kid, here's Kovacs, like the legend, warm-up drills, movement drills. And by the way, we're not messing around. This is high def videos, and it's you're going to join Mark Kovacs on the court as he takes actual people. Let me show you one. Mark's a buddy of mine, and he came to my club, right? So this is him on the court at my club, showing you the ankle series with actual people. So you'll know top sports tennis scientists in the world right there, and you get access to that course. The other area, Peter, which is kind of new, by the way, Masterminds is just interviews with a bunch of experts. But
This is so awesome.
this
I'm
is
such a
crazy.
tennis nerd.
So I never thought that my website Tennis Reels would have um, a technique area. I thought it's going to be all about drills, but there was more and more and more people saying, I want to know how to teach it. So here's what I did. Let's just look at this serve one here. My talk on Thursday is going to be fixing serve errors, right? So as an example, you will get access to this thing. This is the course. I'm just going to go inside the course. And the first thing is general principles. This is how I tell people, you know, you got to know about the 4 stages and all these things before you even get on the court. And then when it comes to the serve, we're going to do the 9 checkpoints, right? Get this from Dr. Mark. So here's the 9 checkpoints, and you're going to know real quickly what they are. This first video is just me taking you through still photos of Federer doing the 9 checkpoints and explaining what they are. And then I have a video of my wife, video of Bob. Rear view, I want rear view, top view. I freaking got a drone out there because I want you to, here's a rear view of this guy. Bob's about a 5.5 player. And we're going to draw on it. We're going to see what it looks like from behind. And you're going to check out those 9 checkpoints. And I even have one here of my other pro from a drone view. Very little footage out there of what a pro level looking serve looks like from that view. But more importantly, this is what I'm most proud of. All those 9 checkpoints, if you have them wrong, I have error correction video, fixing the rituals, fixing the weight transfer, fixing the ball toss, fixing the trophy. So those are the 9 checkpoints, and here's all the fixes that go along with them. And a whole bunch more fixes. I'd be shocked if some of you don't have some of these problems. Poor kinetic lane.
Of course we do.
Errant toss, elbow drop. So here's a lesson. It's like a private lesson with me and Marty, and you get to, that's just one little course in one little section. So it's a really powerful, website. I got coaches from 72 different countries that subscribe to it. And here's me just showing how you fix that if you have a hitch and you get it down there. I take my beautiful supermodel wife, Marty, and I put a ball right there. So now when she goes down, boom, she feels it. Just kinesthetic feedback. So that's basically it. It's full access.
That's basically it. It's this massive. It's like every time I feel like I'm doing a lot and I start to feel good about everything I've done, I'm like, oh my God, Jorge is just like, I don't even know how you sleep. You just always got to be thinking and creating. It's crazy all the material that you have made and how thorough and how good it is too.
Yeah, well, thank you about that, buddy. But yeah, I was telling Peter before we got on, us online coaches, obviously, we're always promoting each other's products and different things. And TennisCon is such an easy thing to promote. Like, I can email to my big list, like, hey, here's free stuff. How do you not want to see that? And the fact, Peter, that you do it that way, that we know that 90% of the people don't buy, right? Or probably more, but the fact that you let the whole world see it for free, and then a percentage of them want to have lifetime access, is so nice. And that's really easy to promote, because basically every day I email, I'm saying, hey, watch this free, watch this free, watch this free. So it's really good. But my point is, you're probably getting inundated with emails from everybody. So look at all the bonuses. If you think this bonus would help you the most, then buy through my link. But quite honestly, if Will or Ian or anybody else has a bonus that's a better fit for you, then freaking buy through their link. But in my opinion, buying through anybody's link is going to be a winner. That lifetime access to have, 40 something things for like not even the price of a private lesson in some places is pretty shocking good value. So kudos to you again, my friend, for putting it all together.
Thank you so much. Guys, if you guys hopefully see, I put Jorge's link in the chat 2 times. So if you click on that link and you do buy, it's going to go on his ledger that you guys bought from him, and he will be sending you the bonus. How it works, sometimes people are surprised, like, I just signed up, where's my bonus? You're going to sign up, you're going to get access to TennisCon 6 and everything that we put in there so far, which I'll show you. But then I've got to send the list to Jorge. Jorge's got to manage it on his end and get everybody, however he's going to set you up and get your user and password, however he's going to do it. So that could take a couple of days. So, give him a little bit of time, and he will get you your bonus, and I'll be sending him the list. But it's just such a great value what you give Jorge. It is amazing. I want to, if you guys have questions, ask questions, but I want to share what we're doing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then if you did want to buy tonight, I'll show you everything that you get inside of TennisCon 6. So I'm going to present right now my screen. And Jorge, again, thanks. I call you Babe Ruth for a reason. Again, you absolutely knocked it out of the park. Fantastic presentation, such high value. And I mean, I'm just always so impressed with how.
One thing I thought I could do, since someone wanted the PowerPoint, I'm going to try.
Yes.
I'm going to try it, because I want you to use this PowerPoint. If you're a coach, share it with your teammates, whatever. I'm going to try to upload this bugger, and then I'll drop the link so you can, and I'll make it the actual PowerPoint so you can use the, animations I created. So give me 2 seconds as Peter does that.
Nice. Okay, so guys, this is Wednesday. This is what you're going to see tomorrow. And the first lesson of the day that you will see is Gigi Fernandez, 17-time Grand Slam champion, is headlining TennisCon Day 3. We met here in person, which was great. First time I ever met her. And it's a really good video, because what we do is she went to Laver Cup, and we took points off of YouTube. And so the points are really crystal clear. And we talked to the points, and she's like, you see, like Rafa, he went here and he should have been going here. And this is why. And this is the exact time you move. And you see, if he would have moved, then that would have been easy poach. Instead, he's protecting the line. And she just shows all these things. Like one time Felix went in front of Jack's sock, and then even though Felix made the volley, the next one Jack missed, and she kind of blames Felix for that, for kind of like throwing off the rhythm of the point. And, you could maybe argue, like, are you sure? But I mean, Gigi Fernandez won 17 Grand Slam titles. So, I mean, I'm going to take her word for it. Everything she said in this presentation was pretty awesome and unique. And we really enjoyed our time together. And we talked about God at Tennis. This is actually an encore presentation from last year. They do lots of analytics with Djokovic and Casper Ruud and Dimitrov, and all these players come to this court that's got like 20-something cameras on it, all kinds of angles. And so they talk about, how to think and play like a pro. It's a great video. I thought it was so good last year. I just kept it in this year's TennisCon. This is with Essential Tennis, Ian Westerman. He's so good at strategy, and this is kind of a cool board that he brought up during our presentation. We're talking face to face, but then he had this cool presentation board. He shows very clearly when, because as coaches, I think we're always talking about high percentage, play high percentage, but at sometimes you can become too predictable if you're just playing like a robot and just playing high percentage. So this is when to actually go big on a singles court. When are the times to where it is worth it to take the risk? So that's what he talks about in this video. Then we have Will from Fuzzy Yellow Balls. And as you know, he's worked with so many amazing legends like Gigi Fernandez, like the Bryan brothers, like Pat Rafter. And what we do in this video is he's learned all these tells from these pros. And we talk about some of the tells. And also we go on the court with him and we show, okay, this is the tell. And this is what you do. And it's really good because when you think like this, when you see the opponents move to a certain spot, and that's kind of what I really got out of Gigi too. Like it really made me think, the next, if I play a match, I got to really notice when the person's in that position because, sometimes you're so worried that you're going to get burned. But when you look at it and you're studying it, and you're like, yeah, I notice my opponents are in that position. Yeah, of course they're not going to hit that shot in that position. So, that's what the best players are able to see. They train themselves to see, hey, when I see this, they're not going to go there. They're going to go there. And we're always so maybe self-conscious, a little bit we don't have the confidence that we should. So we're maybe just guarding things a little too much, but the pro is like, no way they're going to do that. They're going to do this. I'm going for it. And so that's kind of what tells can do for you as well. Then we have Brent Abel, who has 11 gold balls. That's pretty amazing. We talk about the legends like Gigi Fernandez, and we had Mark Woodford on day one. But this is a legendary recreational player who's won 11 national championships. And he talks about when to go big on a doubles court. And again, we take actual point footage. And he always likes to freeze frame things and he'll ask you, what do you think the right shot is right now? He does this thing called, what's the right shot? What's the right shot now? And so he asks me, and then he'll stop it, and then he'll play it. And it's kind of a cool video to watch and again, start to really see the game in a different way. Then we've got double strategy. This is Tom Avery, who's just been doing a phenomenal year online for a long time. And he talks about the benefits of getting to the net. If you get to the net and if you get to the net in a certain way, how that's really going to help you win more points, win more matches. Then we have another Master Pro. I'm sure the Master Pros know each other. Pat Whitworth? Jorge?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And he's another very creative coach like you, and a lot of very positive, very high energy. And so he gave us a ton of great just doubles drills. And these drills are just very quick, high energy, and they're doing a lot of things. If you do the drills that you watch in this video, and you can see this is a 30-minute video, if you do the drills in this video, you're going to get in better shape. Your reaction time is going to improve. The more you play these games, your decision making will start to improve, and you're also going to get just better at figuring out how to recover faster and get in the better court position. So these are a lot of things that hurt a lot of doubles teams. They always find, well, I'm in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I keep getting the ball hit at my feet and things like that. Well, if you do these drills, you'll start to train yourself how to get to the right spots on the court. Then this is pretty cool. This is probably the most famous tennis shop owner in the world right now, Harry from the Tennis Spin. I'm sure you've seen him, right, Jorge? Have you seen this guy? Yeah. And so he owns a tennis shop in San Francisco. During COVID is when he decided to start this, and he started to make videos, and people just loved it because they couldn't come into the shop. So he's like, well, I'll just show, I'll just educate people from my shop and then online, how to pick out rackets, how to pick out strings, what different string tensions will do for your game, all kinds of things like that. So you can become a smarter player about your equipment. And at least when you go into a tennis shop, you don't feel like I do when I go into the car dealership or mechanic where I can get taken for a ride because I don't know anything. So this is a good way to get an education from Harry. So this is really good. And then we've got the best training aids. I believe Joe Dinifer is also a Master Pro. Am I right?
Yeah.
3 Master Pros on one day.
Joel's a double Master Pro.
Okay. So we've got 3 Master Pros on one day and a 17-time Grand Slam champion. Mm-hmm. I mean, just think about that. And this is showing all his equipment. You know, he basically invented so many of his things. His training aids are great. He sent me a bunch after we did the interview, and I'm just so excited. One of my geeky plans is after TennisCon is starting to get a little cold now, but to find a warm day, just take all these fun tools and make videos with them, because it's one thing when you hear somebody tell you do something and all that kind of stuff and watch the video, but when you are able to feel, a lot of his training aids help you feel how to do something right, then that's a whole other level of being able to really connect the dots. So he showed you some really cool training aids to help your ground strokes, your serves, and your volleys. And and so you basically have 48 hours to watch Wednesday. Then it goes away. If you want to watch us over and over again, then you upgrade, buy off Jorge's link. I think that's a great idea, because then you get his bonus and you get to own this all for life. And just some things. If you buy and you have trouble logging in or anything like that, I've been helping people every day get their user and their password. If for whatever reason the system somehow doesn't work, or maybe sometimes it's user error and you don't quite know what to do when you finish the process of buying, don't worry, don't freak out. All you got to do is send me an email. Let me put my email in here. Where's my banner? Put my banner. Yeah. So if ever you have any kind of trouble with anything, guys, if you're having trouble finding your lifetime material, just email me at Crunch Time Coaching. If you're having trouble finding the day's lessons, if you're like, I didn't get my email this morning, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. I'm basically, during TennisCon, I am like on my computer like a hawk. I'm trying to answer any question as fast as possible, just so you guys have any kind of frustration. And that's basically it, guys. There's a lot of fun tonight. Thank you so much, Jorge, for coming on.
And by the way, I did drop in a couple links. One to the PowerPoint, so you can swipe this PowerPoint I went through today, and the other one was to that progress report, kind of like that audit thing. Those are both in there. I set them so you can use it. So
yeah. So if you use this link, we get Jorge's bonus. Not sure which option to go for, 97 or 127. Yeah. So I've got different options. I've got also where if you buy right now, it's basic TennisCon 6. You get that for 97. I should probably maybe go through everything that you're going to get. I'll do that here in a second. But then I have bonuses. So if you go just upgrade for a little bit more, you can get the best of either TennisCon serves, forehands, and backhands, basically the best of like technique, or you can get the best of mental. You can also say, well, I want more mental stuff. I want strategy. I want fitness. I want a mental toughness. And I picked out some of the best lessons, which are incredible. They're from people like Jorge. Jorge's in there for sure. Rick Macy, who coached the Williams sisters, and Annie Roddick. John Newcomb, who is incredible, one of the biggest legends of our game. Rod Laver, like it's pretty awesome stuff. I guess I should share the screen one more time, so I'm going to do that and just show you guys, because sometimes I take for granted that you know what you're going to get, but maybe you don't. So let's go here. And I want to just go through the list of everything you get when you get TennisCon, because you do get more than just the actual 40 lessons, which are incredible. I have bonuses in there as well. So I'm just waiting for this to download here. So can you see that, Jorge?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure can.
Page is taking forever to load because we're on the live stream. But yeah, when you I
just thought of something else as you were talking there, and I'll drop it. Mention that I have a 4-part free mental toughness series. I'm going to drop that in there. It's 100%.
Wow.
I think I know where I'm doing.
That's pretty. That's pretty generous. Yeah. So guys, right here, this is TennisCon 6. You get TennisCon 6, plus you get 6 big bonuses. So I'm going to go through the big bonuses that you get from me as well. One of the things that I asked this year on the survey is what's keeping you from getting to the next level or winning at your level? You know, some people watching this, like it's more important for them to just win matches at the 3-0 or 3-5 level. Other people are like not satisfied. They've been like a 3-5 for 10, 15 years. Like, what do I got to do to get to the next level? And so I made win big at your level singles edition and win big at your level doubles edition. So I basically, every bit I'll go, okay, you're a 3-0. This is what you got to do to win singles at a 3-0 match, you know, because, you know, lots of 3-0s are on YouTube and they're trying to figure out how to hit a forehand like Roger Federer. And that's probably the thing that's actually making you lose at 3-0. You know, you don't actually need to hit a forehand like Roger Federer to win matches at 3-0. And I go through what are the basic things you need to win at 3-0. But then when you get to 3-5, and especially if you get to 4-0, then certain things like technique get more and more important, and developing certain skill sets get more and more important, actually essential to win at certain levels. So I show what you need at each level and what your basic strategy is and how you should be training. And we also do that for doubles. And then I basically go through the same exact process to get to the next level. It's like, okay, if you're stuck at 3-5, this is usually why people get stuck at 3-5. You know, they can develop these certain skill sets within 3 to 5 years. They get up to a 3-5, and then if they don't develop these other skill sets, then they get stuck at 3-5 for literally 10, 15, 20 years. I'm sure Jorge has a lot of students who, or people at his club that probably can say, wow, I've been at 3-5 for like 20 years now, you know? Right. So it basically shows, well, if you want to get to that next level, this is what you need to do to get to a 4-0. If you're stuck at 4-0, this is what you need to get to a 4-5, and I even do like 5-0. So that's singles and doubles. And then I know a lot of you guys love to listen to audio recordings, so you can basically use these as like a podcast too, to where you driving to the match, you can listen to a mental session or a strategy session, or hear some cute keywords, maybe on the serve or something that you want to hear on your way to the match or on a road trip. And then the most valuable thing that I'm giving away in TennisCon 6 is myself for 30 days. Because I just want to make sure you take advantage of this material. Why do I do this VIP coaching hotline? Is I want you to dive in, get super focused, and if you're going through the material and you've got a question, you can just go on the VIP hotline and you can ask me a question through video, audio, or text. Or if you're like, hey, take a look at my serve, because the number one thing, biggest frustration that people felt keeping them from getting the next level was a lot of people said, I have a weak serve. So if you feel like you've got a weak serve, get your camera phone out, take a video, and send it in through the hotline. And I pop right up on a video, and I'll be addressing you. It's not just some general thing like, well, for most people, this happens. It's like, no, I'll be saying, Rick or Mary, I'm looking at your serve. I like this, this, and that, but this is where you're getting stuck. And I recommend you do X, Y, and Z drills, and then send me another video, and let's see how you did. And so if you take advantage of that, then you're really, you just can't even lose with this. And really with TennisCon 6, I want to make sure you don't lose, because you guys are the most obsessed tennis players I've ever worked with. I love working with adult people online. They just absolutely love the game. So I love you guys. I'm your biggest fan. So if you go through this material and somehow you're not impressed, somehow you don't feel like you're getting the value, all you got to do is send me an email to crunchtimecoaching@gmail.com and say, you know what? I thought TennisCon was going to be good. It actually wasn't that good. Give me a refund. And I'll kind of probably think, well, how could you not think this is good? It's like the best coach in the world. But anyway, I'll just think that, but I won't say it. I'll just send you your refund. But that's how it works. Okay. There you go, guys.
Good stuff, buddy.
Yeah. So I'll let you go to. I'm sure you got a busy day on the court tomorrow.
Well, I got a busy club, but yeah, I love hanging out with you guys. So
yeah, yes. So Jorge's attention to detail, great job again. So great job, Jorge. People loved it. I'm gonna let Jorge go. We'll send out a replay link to you guys on your email so you can click through Jorge's link. And yeah, definitely upgrade and be Tennis 6 tomorrow, day 3. We're headlining with Gigi Fernandez, so you get an email between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern time. So be looking out for that.
Cool. All right, buddy.
See you
Thanks
guys.
for inviting me, and thanks for checking us out tonight, everyone.